See, okay, is that not too much light? Thanks very much for coming. My name's Tom Cassidy. I'm the Principal Designate of this Powerlist Foundation College, which is starting in September, and over there is...
And I'm Denise Hilliman. I'm the Consultant Vice Principal.
And we're just going to do a quick talk, 10 to 15 minutes, that's all, about the actual college itself, and then hang around for some questions that people have got. We never know exactly how many people are going to come to these. We're inviting students and teachers. Because we don't have a building, we're doing it in a business centre like this, which is a little bit unusual, but bear with us. Quick show of hands then. So how did you hear about it today?
Through Urban Synergy.
Through Urban Synergy? Excellent. What school are you at now, sir?
Ernest Pastor.
Sorry?
Ernest Pastor.
Ernest Pastor. Where's that? In Bromley. And yourself?
I have an Ashes Maths Academy in Bromley as well.
Right, and how did you hear about it? Also through Urban Synergy?
Through him.
Through him, fantastic, okay. And why are you here then? What appealed to you about the idea of it?
Because I heard that it's for professionals.
Yep.
And you can build it as a person, so I decided to look at it.
Fantastic, okay. And about yourself?
Because you're able to like make your own business
Yes.
while you're studying
Okay.
this. But that's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be able to make your own business. Welcome to all those people. We did decide to get cracking, but what we will do is we'll have a chance to talk later on, and you can ask us any questions. So, the concept of this is really it's the first ever sixth form college focusing explicitly on leadership. So, if you see yourself as a leader, you say, how am I going to learn how to be a business leader or a social leader or a political leader, or maybe run my own business, or maybe have a role in a big company? How am I actually going to do that? You might be able to learn that from your teachers in your current school. It's possible, but it's likely that you would probably want to learn. If you wanted to learn gymnastics, you probably want to go to and you had a choice of an Olympic gold medalist in gymnastics, or maybe your teacher in your local school, you'd probably go to the Olympic gold medalist, wouldn't you? Yeah. It would make sense. So what we're lucky enough to have been able to do is work with the Powerlist group, with a list of business people who decided that instead of complaining about young people not having the skills for business, they're going to do something about it and set up a college actually teaching them through their example of what it means to be a leader. And they're not just business leaders, they're leaders in lots of different environments, like they're doctors, they're lawyers, they're politicians, they're entrepreneurs, they're board members. We've got the chairman of the Powerlist Foundation was the first African heritage board member of a PLC in this country. But it's more about, for you guys, what's it going to mean for 2 years? So that if I had to sum it up in 30 seconds, it would be, if you were really good at music or art or dancing, you'd go to a music or an art or a dancing school, college for that time. So if you see yourself as a leader, you might want to go to a leadership school. What's the problem with that? There aren't any leadership schools. This is the first one. Now we're also going to make sure we're only going to do 3 A-levels. We're going to make sure you get a chance to get the best grades in your A-level subjects, so you can go to the top universities in the country, Russell Group universities. Now I'm delighted to be able to say, and it's slightly show off, but my eldest son is now at Cambridge University and he's studying physics there. And he went to a state school. He even got a scholarship to Cambridge University, so he doesn't even have a student loan. And did he do 4 or 5 or 6 A-levels? No. How many A-levels did he do? He did 3 A-levels. So if you can get into Cambridge University with a scholarship on 3 A-levels, it's going to be good enough. So what are we going to do with the rest of the time? Miss Hilliman, what are we going to do with the rest of the time?
Oh, lots of fantastic things. But before I tell you that, I think I need to tell you a little story.
Okay.
Some years ago, I was having a really difficult conversation with a parent. Her son was involved in a fight, and she was saying that the school did not fulfill its responsibility by protecting her son. I said, but your son hit the child, pinned the child to the floor, and so he has to be punished. And she said, no, my son is here. I expect you to protect my child, and I expect you to be educating him. He's here to get his qualifications. And I was feeling really uncomfortable. How do I manage this difficult conversation? So I had a thought. I said to the young man, what do you want to be when you grow up? He said, between his teeth, Miss Hilliman, I would like to be a GP. I said, fantastic. So we are doing our job because the school I was at was aspire, believe, succeed. So I said, the mom smiled, and I said to the young man, so why do you want to be a GP? He said, because all they do, they sit and write. But you know, out of that story, I realized that the mom had a very narrow understanding of what education is, and the child did not understand what profession he was aiming for. The Powerless Foundation College addresses those two things, those two aspects of education. One, the Powerless Foundation College's curriculum is preparing students for life, social skills. Instead of pinning people to the floor, you fight with words, It's preparing them for work. They'll be studying those A levels to get to the Russell Group universities, but at the same time, they are having valuable real-life work experience, having the opportunity to set up their businesses, working with mentors, people who have gone that way before. They will be telling them what road to go down. They'll be having short courses in time management. They'll be involved in competitions, projects, giving things to the community. I mean, the exciting curriculum. But it's also preparing them, like Tom said, for further education. So the Powerless Foundation is not just about qualifications. It's about preparing you as a well-rounded individual. It's a balanced curriculum. What's great about it, the core of that, is leadership. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead anyone. Someone said to me, if you don't know where you're going, the mark of recognizing someone who has no idea of leading, they don't have a vision, they don't know where they're going. People like that, he said, any road will take them where they want to go. And you know what? When they get there, they still wouldn't know where they are. Okay? So, that's one side of the powerless. Well-rounded education. But the other side is, there is that emotional intelligence aspect of it. It's that meter layer of the curriculum. All the social skills, the ability to communicate, the ability to work as part of a team, the ability of being a team leader, the ability of being resilient. That's what's great about it.
It is fantastic. We're going to smash through the presentation. If it takes more than another 10 minutes, just go time out. Just say that's it, you had enough. Because your questions will be much better than what I'm going to say. Because it will be pertinent to you guys. So a little bit about me. This number, I'm quite proud of, it says 85,000 students. I've got an online business, and one of the reasons I was chosen to be the principal of this college is because I'm not just a teacher. I have my own business, I'm a leader. There's 85,000 students, those are individual students on one of my learning platforms. Now I teach, your internet sort of presence is kind of always a little bit exaggerated. So when I say that I'm a thought engineer and a reasonable polymath, that's just part of the spin really. But what I am saying is that I teach people how to think, and I teach people how to feel good about themselves, but also be productive. I'm not telling them that life is about just sitting on the top of a mountain in Nepal and meditating and going, life's amazing and feeling awesome. It's also not just about running lots of businesses or having a big family or whatever you want to do. It's that balance. Have a business, run your company, be this great person, but also feel good about it. Don't feel under pressure and all those sorts of things. Now, I've actually got, you might argue, is that really true? What's the proof? What is all this? Anything on the internet? Well, I've got a guy in the room who's actually here because he discovered my programs, a couple of years ago? John?
About 2 years.
About 2 years ago. What was the program that you saw? What was it? Was it the maths one?
The maths one.
Maths one. Okay, so I did a program, it's called Help with GCSE Maths, and there's 3,500 students on it. It's just a free program for anyone who's trying to get around about a C or a B in maths. So if you just Google Tom Cassidy and GCSE Maths, you can all access that program for free, in case any of you are thinking that you want a bit of extra help. So the point is, I've got my own business, And we expect all the teachers who are teaching this college to have some component of their own business so they can be leaders as well. Have you ever listened to someone who's just telling you that you can do it, or someone who's actually done it as well? Right, exactly, there you go. Over to you, Miss.
Oh, well, I don't have a business. I'm in the business of education. So I've been in it for 25 years, taught in 7 different schools in 4 different countries. And my mantra is the best education today for successful leaders of tomorrow. I believe in succession planning. That's why I'm in this. 100 years from now, note the number, 100 years from now, I'll pass on. But you will still be here. And so what I'm doing is passing on some of my valuable experience to you. Okay.
Fantastic. Okay, so the location, we can't tell you exactly where it is, sort of around there. And the reason we've talked about this is because the building itself, sure, it's a big part of this, of course it is, but you know, wherever the building is, whatever the building looks like, it's the connections that you're going to make, it's the network, it's the teachers, it's the chance to run your own business that's the most important thing. It's kind of in that picture somewhere. So if you wanted to actually do your research, you find out where it is. But the reason we can't say is because the public company that's selling the building to us can't let the word leak out before it's finally agreed. And if anyone's ever worked with an organisation, a non-profit organisation like the Department for Education, they kind of drag their heels a little bit. So we're expecting it to be all sorted out in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll have a nice big launch. But you know, we're expecting that. It might be a bit longer. The point of the building is that it's going to be a fully business environment. I'm selling it to people as this idea of like a cross between the Apple shop and the British Library. So it's going to look like business. It's going to look like a real. It's not going to have any classrooms. How can a school not have any classrooms? Well, what we're going to be teaching is we're going to be teaching the masterclass approach. It's going to be much more like university. We have like 80 people in a big room. You film everything. You record the lectures. You have the best explainers. We've got a gentleman here who's a brilliant explainer. He's coming along just to see if this is interesting. He's a bit of a maths genius. And the idea would be that he would get up, Tom would get up, and he would teach you some really cool things. It's all video archived, and you can then watch it over and over again in your own time. Rather than just have a teacher do something really cool, and you think, oh, that was good, and you've got to make your own notes, and you get home, what happens? You look at your notes, oh, you know, it doesn't make any sense. Now, if everything's been recorded, what can you do? You can focus 100% on what's going on. You don't have to keep writing notes and all that sort of stuff. Of course, it's a little different. So we're going to have lots of break-in rooms, a big, nice open space where you can work in your student groups, your big lecture theatres for your master classes, break-in rooms where you could be talking to external businesses and mentors and all that sort of stuff. It's going to be really quite different, but quite amazing. And the world is changing rapidly. A few slides, you know this more than anything else. We're going to play Spot the Difference now. And you're going to win. Biggest difference in those 8 years. What is it? Technology, isn't it? It's the phones. That's a massive difference, enormous difference. Now, that's in 8 years. There, nothing. No, sorry, there's a Nokia or something like that. Nokia from 2005. But the point is, the world is changing so fast that, I was saying this earlier on today in a meeting we had this afternoon, schools right now are doing a brilliant job, and they're preparing people right now perfectly for a world that no longer exists. What you need to know is how to think really well, how to believe in yourself, how to come up with new ideas, how to learn the new thing faster than your teachers, which you already do, right? And faster than your parents, because you're the next generation. So, we've got a bunch of firms. I mean, you don't need to care about these firms, but it's good to know that there's some big names behind us. There's over 100 companies already signed up for one-to-one mentoring. That means you will have a one-to-one mentor with someone who's a business leader. What does that mean? Oh no, does that mean I have to do something? It means you get a chance to sit down every 6 weeks with somebody who's a professional who's going to come down and sit down and say, right, tell me about it. How are your dreams? How's your business going at the moment? How can I help you reach your full potential? How many, I don't want to show off about this, but how many sixth form options have got one-to-one mentoring for all their students. I don't know whether, I mean, some will do a little bit of work experience and some will do some, and you know, they'll have a day where they come in and run a project. But to actually have that commitment, because the people that are behind this know how important it is to do something a little different. Now, Miss is going to talk a little bit about the difference between aspirations and why, if you look on the literature, Powerless Foundation College is an aspirations academy, and what aspirations is. And why don't you...
Right, so we keep it simple.
Yeah.
If we go back one slide.
Oh, back one slide.
Yeah, so the ability to dream, set goals for the future while being inspired in the present to reach those dreams. You know, it's interesting. I read a bit of research some time back. They did it with some Harvard University students, and I think it was about 400 of them. I'm not sure about the number, I think so. But basically what they did, at the start of their course, they found out how many of them had a goal they were working towards. And then many years after they graduated, they interviewed the same group of people. The 50% who knew exactly what they were working towards, they were earning like 10 times more than the students who didn't know. And what that tells me, one, as I said earlier, one characteristic of a good leader is to know where you're going. You can't lead anyone if you don't have a vision. So, but if you would just sit and dream all the time, then what you're doing is hibernating. So you're just dreaming, you're doing absolutely nothing about it. You see, dreaming and hibernation. But then there's another group of people, they're dreaming, lots of high aspirations. So that group there, not dreaming too big, the hibernating group, doing nothing. That group, my God, these lofty ideas, what they want to be, what they're going to be in 10 years, I'm going to be earning $1 million. But all they're doing, they're sitting and watching TV.
Yeah.
Yes. Then you have some people, not a lot of vision, not a lot of high aspirations, but they're working hard. Now I'm sure some of you are saying, okay, that's like someone I know. That's all you're doing there, you're just sweating perspiration. The final group are the people with goals, but they're doing something about it. That's aspiration. And what's happening at the Power List, it's young people, we're looking for those young people who really know what they want to be, but we are going to help you to do something about it. So you will be in that aspiration box.
Whoops,
Okay.
made a mistake, went back. It's a big mistake to do that when you go back in a slide when you've got lots of builds.
Yes.
Sorry about that. And it was this last one I wanted to show. Self-worth,
Yes,
engagement, and
self-worth,
purpose.
engagement.
So the aspirations
Sure.
framework has got 3 components. We won't get into that, but you can research that on the website if you like. So we're going to skip through really to the end now. It will be amazing. It'll be fully cloud-based, bring your own device, all that sort of stuff. Of course, there'll be access to all the latest technology as well. But what we want is this to be just like sort of home, coffee shop, university, work, school. It should all be the same thing. There shouldn't be all these ridiculous networks you have to keep joining all the time. It should be much more like work. So technology can help with that. And really, what are we looking for? We've got 2 programs. We've got a fast track, which is what most of you will be interested in, which is a 2-year A-level program. There is a 3rd year to that program. Let's say your business is going really well. After 2 years, you go, you know what? I'm not sure I want to go to university. I'm not sure I want to go straight to a job in a company. Maybe my business is going so well I can carry on doing my business. So you could do a 3rd year where you're just having an extra year running your own business. That's a possibility. But, which is a great idea, because some people, your businesses will be fantastic. And I imagine some people are going to make a lot of money, which is even better. Well done. But it's possible that some of you don't quite get the Bs that you need to do your A-levels, and you think, well, you know what, I still really love the idea. Is there a way in which I could do the 3-year program, but do a foundation year so I get a chance to do, get the Bs and better in English and maths and then do A-levels? So that's called a 3-year program. We're looking at about 100 150 places eventually on the foundation year, about 50 places in September, and about 100 places, the red writing, in this September for the A-level programme. We've already had pushing 140 applications, so it's very popular. We don't have a building yet. We've only just got on board. We haven't really been round to schools to talk about them yet. So I'm not saying get in early, because there's plenty of space and we can always scale these up, but get in early. Okay, the subjects that you'll be studying. The A-levels that we're offering are called mainly facilitating subjects. There's no point doing business as an A-level, just start your own business. It's compulsory, you need to start your own business anyway, so why study business as well? If you're interested in business, you study economics, because economics is a bit more useful to you in terms of getting into the best universities. But you can study the main subjects like the sciences and then the humanities, and some languages as well if you want to. But we're not offering everything under the sun, because we want to be spending an awful lot of our time and energy these 2 days a week. All your A-levels are going to be done on the Monday and the Wednesday. 2 full days a week, Tuesday and Thursday, is going to be all your own business stuff. Is there another day that I missed? Friday. What happens on Friday is that because we've got this flexibility to allow you to have all this time to do your own business, and we've got this masterclass approach, what do you think might be the danger of that? Anyone got it? What do you think? What do you think might be the danger of that? We've got this free university style thing. What could happen conceivably? Well, I tell you what, some people would say, well, you know, how are you going to make sure that kids are really making progress? So when you have something as free and as radical as what we're doing now, you're going to have a weekly review. Every single week you'll have a chance to actually sit down with your mentor, with the person who's looking after you, and say, hey, how's it going? How are you getting on? How's your work going? How can we help you? Because in that free structure system, you need a really, really, really cast iron supportive infrastructure to make sure that type of thing is going to work. But in the Leadership Incubator program, it'll be compulsory to run your own business, and we expect you to run several over 2 years, because unless you're very lucky and your first one goes great, there's every chance, as I'm sure a lot of adults in this room know, that most likely the first 2 or 3 businesses you start might not come off. But you learn way more from businesses that don't come off anyway. But you'll be doing that one-to-one mentoring, you'll be having short courses, as Miss was saying, time management, project management, you'll be doing internships. There'll be groups of you, so you'll have a bunch of friends, you say, you know, I know, us 6, we're all interested in, say, marketing. We can go to a bank and say, we will give you our time, Tuesday afternoon from, say, 1 to 3, every week, for 6 weeks. We'll do something for you. And they'll go, okay, great, well, what can you do? We'll say, well, I know what we can do. We can teach your bank how not to be rubbish. Because we young people know what you should be doing to encourage people to want to interact with them, right? Who wouldn't? I mean, eventually you'll be even charging for that, because that's a great piece of like testing and development and market research. So all this kind of leadership stuff is all going to happen on those 2 days. I'm not going to get... It's too small to read, you know. I must admit I didn't do that slide. I'm not blaming anyone else, I'm accepting full responsibility if I didn't do that slide. Okay, with business involvement fully embedded, what we're going to do is we're going to have the raised aspirations through the one-to-one mentoring, but exposure to successful business leaders themselves. You'll develop your leadership skills through real-world experiences, through running your own businesses or real projects, and you'll still get the best qualifications. And that's it, basically. Just ask yourself those 3 questions. Miss,
yes,
you can...
yeah, so we, while you're thinking about that, we've talked a lot, and I'm sure you'll forget a lot of it. But who knows EE? Anyone met the EE? Yeah. Show of hands if you've seen that before. Yeah. Anyone else? EE? It's
called everything everywhere. It's really nothing anyway. We've had it in the countryside, which is right.
Listen, we want you to remember the 3 E's. That's why we're unique. We're adding a 3rd E. The first E is engagement. You will be engaged. Can you imagine? Running your business, that will definitely engage you. The 2nd E, you will be empowered. because you will be given responsibility, you will be meeting influential people, you'll be mentored by people who've gone that way before. You know, so you will be empowered, you will be engaged, and finally you will be enabled, being taught by the most inspirational teachers. So 3 E's: engagement, empowerment, and enablement.
Thanks, Miss. And there's 3 questions to just think about. You know, as I'm going to leave those up there. We're available now for as long as you like, really. Well, kind of as long as you like. We have our American dude over, who's the founder of Aspirations Framework, and he's in the building. And so he wants to go out to dinner later. So he's told us to wrap it up by about 7:30. But we did say 6 to 7. So if anyone wants to stay, I'm happy to stay as long as you like. But just ask yourself those questions. Ask us any questions. We've got application forms at the back. It's always better not to ask questions in front of the whole room because, you know, so don't worry about that, but just come see us individually. Mr. Morgan at the back, he's a principal of the Space Studio, which is another one of the Aspirations Academies. If you're more interested in space and stuff like that, have a chat with him, but if you're more interested in leadership, he'll still be able to help you with some ideas.
So don't forget there is a possibility of doing a little bit of both.
Correct, you're right, because we're part of the same group, you could do a bit of space and a bit of power. Both. All right, thanks ever so much for coming.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. All right?
Thank you.
Sure. Sorry.